All right, it's Derek here, back with another episode of Kurby home buying tips to help you find out what the true value of a property is. So today we've got some tips to help you figure out what the actual value of that property is. There's a few calculators that you can use, there's some estimators that you can use, but we're gonna break it down in more simple terms so that you really understand what goes into valuing property, and then you'll be able to determine the true property value of any address. So let's get into it. First of all, the property, you want to determine what your goals are. So let's start with number one. The first thing that you want to do is set a list of goals and understand what makes a good property for you. This is going to differ for everybody depending on if you have kids or not. You know, you're going to be looking at different things if you're moving with a family versus if you're moving for university as a solo person looking for a good university. So it's always going to depend on what you're looking for first and foremost. You want to make sure that you set criteria, you have a checklist of things that you're looking for, and then you can knock it off and make sure that you are, checking off the things that are most important to you. The second thing that you want to look at is the safety of the neighborhood. There are a few different ways on how you can create a safety rating. You want to look for certain things. What's the poverty level in this neighborhood? Are the majority of neighbors living above or below the poverty level? Typically, if this is above 15%, I would suggest looking for a different neighborhood. You can also look at what's the average household income of this neighborhood. These are all things that Kurby makes very easy and accessible for you. See what else is in the neighborhood. What types of stores are in the neighborhood and what quality do they offer? Are these rundown stores? Are they high-performing stores, top-notch quality? What types of stores? Do you have Planet Fitnesses and Walmarts, or do you have Whole Foods and Equinoxes? These things are all going to determine what the property value is, and they're very quick things that you can look at to get a better understanding of just what quality that neighborhood is, if it's a bad neighborhood, if it's a safe neighborhood. The third thing that we want to look at is the school district. Even if you don't have kids, this is definitely a quick way that you can benchmark the neighborhood. You can get a general rule of thumb of what quality of schools are offered in that neighborhood. You can look at things like greatschools.org or niche.com, and they gave you ratings of each school. After you look at a few different neighborhoods and the schools that are nearby, you'll get a better benchmark and understanding of just what quality of schools are offered in this neighborhood. Are they a 3 out of 10? Are they a 5 out of 10? A 7 out of 10? And then you want to see how close your neighborhood is to the top ranked schools. That's going to determine the property value as well. Even if you don't have kids, if you want to sell later on, the people who do have kids, the families that are looking for these great schools, they're going to be willing to pay more for your home if it's a closer neighborhood to a great ranked school. The fourth tip when evaluating the property value is to evaluate the commute. And I know you might be thinking, well, everyone works in a different area, so how do you determine the commute? One quick way to look at it is, where's the city center? Or where's the financial district? Or where is the area that has the most jobs? That's where people are most likely going to be commuting to and from. So this is going to be the main highway that runs into the city center. What's the traffic like there? During rush hour, Monday through Friday, what's the average commute time that it will take you to get from your home to the city center? You can easily plug this into Google Maps and get a better understanding of just how close you are. And again, this is going to determine the property value, because there are certain neighborhoods that are just outside the city center that are more livable for families than living in the city would be. So those are the neighborhoods that are going to be, valued higher. Those are where the families are going to be looking to move when they want to be close to work, but they don't want to be in the city center. So knowing just where you are is going to be important in determining your property value. The fifth tip is, and I'm sure you've already been doing this, but to use Google Maps and go for a virtual drive of the area. Go to Google Street View, walk around the area, click, zoom, do a few steps, see what it looks like on that street. See if it's a street that you want to live on. How big are the backyards? Are there cars parked on both sides of the street? Look at it at different times and see what it's like. Drive around the area, see what the quality of homes are, what's the landscaping. I know it's tough to see a lot of this on Google Maps, but this will give you a quick understanding of the area. It's a lot easier than having to physically go to that area. This is something that you do when you're looking at maybe 10 or 20 different neighborhoods and you want to get a quick understanding, a better sense of, which neighborhoods do I want to visit in person. Maybe you want to narrow it down to 2, 3, 4. But this is going to help you get to that smaller selection when you say, okay, I want to go visit these in person. Number 6, as you can imagine, is to go for a drive. Once you have narrowed it down to just a few neighborhoods, go drive around those neighborhoods, see what they're like. This is what's really going to give you the best understanding of that neighborhood for the property value and also for the livability. Do this at multiple times of the day if possible. Do it in the morning, do it around lunchtime, and do it at rush hour as well. See what quality of life is out there. Also try to do this during the weekends. You might notice that it's very different on a Friday afternoon than it is on a Monday afternoon. If you see a lot of younger adults on the corners hanging out doing drugs and alcohol on a Friday afternoon, you might not see that on a Monday, but maybe that's something that you see and that's something that you want to be aware of, because these are all things that are going to affect your quality of life, your livability, your property value. These are all things that are going to be factored in. You're also going to be able to see if there's maybe construction in the area, which might be a good sign that they're constantly building. Maybe they're building new grocery stores, or by getting there in person, it's the best thing that you can do. Number 7, look at the neighbors. Look at the quality of the homes that your neighbors have. The average home value in that neighborhood is going to greatly influence your home value. So you can look at this on Zillow. You can use other web apps to look at this. And also you can do this when you're driving around. Look at the quality of the homes. Are they being maintained and upkept? Are they well maintained? Are any of them boarded up or abandoned with broken windows? Are they all top notch? Were they built in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s, the 2010s? This is all going to determine what your home value is and what your property value is, because it's greatly influenced by your neighbors. So you want to be around neighbors who take pride in their property and their land, and they really maintain it, and that's going to help influence your property value. Number 8 is to look at the traffic patterns in the area. I mentioned this briefly, but not just the commute from your neighborhood to the city center, but what is it like in your actual neighborhood? Is this a street that's like connected to a very public street that gets a lot of traffic because it's a back road where people can avoid the highway? Are you super close to the highway and people constantly taking this back road to skip an exit? Things like this will matter. Is it a route that people use that is like on Waze? If you use Waze, you understand that it takes you a new direction every second. Every 50 feet to turn left or right. So if your street's one of those turns that people are frequently going through because they're using Waze and they're avoiding traffic, this could determine your quality of life again, because if you have kids who are going to be out playing in the front yard, you want to know if there's a lot of traffic in your area. You can look at traffic patterns by looking at Google Maps. You can search traffic patterns online, and you'll get the government's traffic websites where you can figure out what the traffic patterns are in that site. And then also by visiting this neighborhood at different times of the day, you'll get that better sense. The 9th step: is there an opportunity for forced appreciation of the house? This means, maybe you're buying a home and it has an unfinished basement where you can go in and you can finish this and add a new room or a new bathroom and immediately increase the value of your property. Or you can fix up the curb appeal. Maybe this house wasn't being well kept and it's the lowest priced home in the neighborhood, and by doing some forced appreciation, you can increase the value to be more similar to your neighbor's value. Ultimately, that's something that you're looking for. Even if you're not an investor, you always want to have an opportunity to increase the value of the home by doing a forced appreciation, repair or renovation. That way you can make sure that you're not going to be so tight on the mortgage, or when you sell, you'll have more leeway to get profit on that sale because you have improved the home and you've increased its value during the time. Number 10, what sort of parks, tourist attractions, or shopping malls are in the area? The closer you are to a tourist attraction or a great park or shopping mall is going to influence your property value. If you're really close to a high quality park like Millennium Park in Chicago, then you're really going to be, you're in the center, and your property value is going to be increased because of the proximity to that park. there's so many things that you can do to go, visit the park, hang out, walk a dog, hang out with your kids or friends and family. So that always is going to increase your property value if it's a well-maintained, high-quality park. So it's important to know what quality that park is, or what quality, that attraction is that you're next to. Next to a tourist attraction like a national park or a state park, you can be, assured that these are going to be well maintained and taken care of. So these are going to definitely improve your property value. So these are things that you'll want to be aware of. You want to call out. You want to see, what proximity you are to that park and what benefits that park offers. Is it hiking? Is it fishing? Is it camping? Because these are going to determine exactly what audience is sort of looking to either rent or buy in that area that you're in. But before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And let me know that you like this content so that I'll continue to make more. It requires a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. So I really appreciate it when you show support and let me know that you do like this kind of content so that I do continue to make more. Number 11, research the local economy, check government records, see what the unemployment rate is like in this area, see what the job rates are like, see if this is an area that is growing. Is the population rate growing? Is the employment rate growing? Are new businesses being moved into this area? New jobs being created? You want to get an understanding of what sort of employment and job opportunities are there. Even if you've already got a job, you want to understand, is this going to be a desirable neighborhood, highly in demand for newcomers? Is somebody going to want to purchase this home for you later on if you decide to sell? Number 12, is there a Home Depot or Lowe's or home improvement store somewhere nearby? This is a good sign because it shows that, there are a lot of general contractors in the area. There's a lot of work for them. And this will mean that it will be easier for you to find a general contractor if you need to do some renovations or some repairs. It will show that there's a lot of, construction and building going on in the area. If it takes you 45 minutes to get to the nearest home improvement store from your neighborhood, then it might be a sign that there's not as much home improvement work going on. There's not enough renovations and repairs. It might not be easy to find a general contractor in the area. So it is one thing that you want to be aware of when you're looking at areas. Number 13 is related to natural disasters. What sort of natural disasters are there in the area? Are you in a flood zone? Is it a place where there are wildfires and you have to get extra insurance to make sure that your house doesn't burn down? Are there a lot of tornadoes or hurricanes or earthquakes? If it's very close to the equator, there's more chances that it has a lot more natural disasters than if it were further away. So this is something that you want to be aware of because these are, again, things that people take into account when they're looking to purchase a home. And if yours is in on a fault line or just not in the right area, it might make it tougher for you to sell it down the line and it might impact your property value. Number 14 is the noise factor. Just how loud is this neighborhood? This could depend on, if you're right next to the highway or if you're right next to a large construction project and that they're going to be doing construction for the next 5 or 6 years. That could be a noise factor. It could also cause a lot of traffic and congestion as well. But you want to know what the noise factor is in this area. Are you right next to an arena where a professional sports team plays? Or are you right next to a concert hall? Again, these are things that you want to be aware of because it's going to affect the property value if there is something, drastic in that area that causes a lot of noise throughout the day. So it's something to be aware of. The 15th and final tip is to check out the demographic area. What's the average age of owners in that area? Are there a lot of renters? Are there a lot of owners? How long have people been owning? Do they own their house outright or are they, paying off a mortgage? These are different things that will be, determining your quality of life as well. If the average age is, maybe it's not a 55 plus community, but if the average age is over 50 or over 60 and you're in your 30s or 20s, that might not be the area that you want to be in, and vice versa. So it's important to understand that, what types of people are living in this neighborhood, what the age demographic, and does it fit with your lifestyle. That's 15 tips right there. I've got a lot more, but I hope these were helpful. check out Kurby.io. We have a software platform, a web app that helps you, determine the property value of homes a lot quicker. Just type in the address and we'll run it through all of these different tips and many more to come up with a proprietary location score and to give you an exact understanding of where that property is and what's around that property. So I'll see you next time on the next video, and thanks for watching.